Hello again. We're now up to chapter 3 in the introduction to my book, People Think, People Think. Why it matters what other people think. This chapter is called My Style. In today's world, many people, just like Laura, are obviously influenced in how they think and what they feel by their personal perception of and then their own subjective interpretation of what other people think of them. They try their best to earn good opinion and make a favourable impression in other people's minds and also in their hearts. They aim to appear worthy and be seen as high in value. Also, just like Laura, people who care what other people think try hard to avoid a bad rap. They want to keep approval. They must deserve acceptance, and they dare not disappoint. People who insist that they are always independent thinkers and deny they care about what other people think, like Janie, are saying it because they do care. They wouldn't say this if they didn't. They may wish they didn't care. They may sincerely believe that they don't care, but they do. By their protest, they demonstrate that they're energetically involved in this thought-provoking subject in popular psychology. What other people think really is a neutral non-issue for anyone who truly doesn't care or only ever cares on rare occasions. Let's consider Sophie here. Janie asks Sophie, "You never care about what other people think of you, do you, Soph?" Sophie replies to Janie, "Mostly I don't care, but there are times that I do." For Sophie, the thought of what will people think only comes to mind for the occasional anxious moment, if at all, and then it's gone. Most people are not like Sophie. Why can it matter so often to so many of us then what other people could be thinking? In this book, I explain the dynamics as I see them of the times we feel the need to factor into our own thinking what other people think about us. We still tend to do this despite the fact that many influential experts on the self-development scene keep insisting, just as Janie does to Laura, that we shouldn't be concerned about the way that other people see us. We ought to pay no heed to their opinion. Just ignore them, Janie has advised Laura twice. To illustrate my explanations, I use a lot of quotes. Some come from the mouths of the characters I've created. Others simply come from typical talk in normal daily life. I make frequent references to what goes on in the thoughts and emotions of the three main players in the hotel scene, Laura, Janie, and Sophie. I'm confident you can recognize these characters. Are they people that you know? Could one of them be you, perhaps? Mostly? Maybe only sometimes? Are there times you're more like Janie, assertive and direct? At other times, would you relate more to the character of Laura, who keeps on worrying about giving the wrong impression and being misjudged by people she doesn't even know? Can you be like Sophie? Sophie's cool and calm, yet also warm and wise. As you read, you'll come across examples of some favourite things of mine. I call them word essences. Here I go into the roots of common words in our magnificent English language. English can be surprisingly insightful. I discovered this long ago. It continues to delight me that I still call on my high school Latin to explore nuance in our current speech. My favourite book is Onions. It's the Oxford Dictionary of English Etymology, edited by C.T. Onions. I've had this book for over 30 years. Occasionally, I'll also source the internet to find the origin of words. In my writing, I like to reveal how the words we choose to use can sometimes carry more in meaning and emotion than we may consciously appreciate. Typically, in our communications with each other, and also as we chat to ourselves inside our own heads, yes? We're not completely cognizant of all we're actually saying at the time. I've already drawn to your attention valere, the Latin for make strong. In our communal thinking then, values and validation are in their essence words about strength. Equivalent tells us equal strength, while prevalent refers to strongest. To no avail is a very weak position. Our values are our strong beliefs, and getting validation will always get our strength up. Also, there are many idioms in our daily talk which we tend to use on automatic. Again, we're not fully recognizing how much meaning and feeling we may be sharing between the lines or without our conscious intention at that time. Consider this expression, for example. It's from a normal everyday conversation. I've been tied up at work. For the complainant who's feeling restrained by a virtual tight leash or by a virtual short tether, being tied up is obviously a disempowered position. It can only result from action and control which have been taken by external forces, not by one's own self. While implying this imposed lack of freedom and personal control, I've been tied up at work, can also convey the pressure of feeling obligated. There's certainly no sense of free will choice here. Because of this perceived lack of freedom and control, the expression I've been tied up at work can carry the emotions of frustration and resentment. Like annoyance and toleration, frustration and resentment are both familiar forms of anger, often expressed in response to a sense of obligation. Although in popular psychology, frustration and resentment may typically be labelled as passive-aggressive, they are actually quite active in their bearer. Frustra in Latin is in vain. When we feel frustrated, we feel we have no power to change things. We can sense we lack control. It can feel like all our efforts are in vain. From Latin centera, to feel, resentment is essentially re-feeling. Resentment is re-energizing old feelings over and over again. Typically, these feelings are dark, unhappy ones. They're evocative of previous fear-filled times when we felt our power blocked. In normal daily social interactions, frustration and resentment are frequently kept covert. This prevents them showing up and attracting disapproval or objection from other people, because in the common view, resentment and frustration can both be seen as wrong ways for us to feel. These two unpopular emotions may be masked then, with an appearance of pleasantry and approval and the insistent, it's okay, when if truth be told, it's not. If we're being more mindful than normal and also more consciously open and receptive to other people's vibes or emotional output, the expression of, I've been tied up at work, can reveal quite a lot. It obviously communicates, I'm stressed. Yes? I've mentioned Laura's promise to herself to lift her game. Here Laura perceptively, yet without any conscious recognition of her own perceptiveness, acknowledges that a typical day can look to all the world like a serious sports performance. It can surely feel this way as well. Can you relate to this? When we're little, life is fun. Life is playful. We run simply for the fun of running. We're usually too spontaneous to keep score. We're living in the moment with no thought to how we're going performance-wise or compared to how our playmates are all placed. But play becomes more serious as we grow. In the world we grow to know, lack is everywhere apparent. Demand appears in general to be greater than supply. When we adopt this common view of shortages and struggle as our own, we learn to be competitors. We start to chart our progress. We watch for threats to our position as we play. Playing the game now requires focus. It takes effort and commitment. Our objective is to get the most out of life that we possibly can. To compete successfully in adult life, we need to step up to the plate and be ready to play ball. From then on, we're expected to stay on the ball. Taking care to never drop the ball, we'll try harder and harder to get ahead of the game. There'll probably be many times when we'll have to juggle several balls at once. The game of life can be a cruel and grueling game of risk and chance. There's challenge and adversity. Many things look wrong to us, almost everywhere we look. We acclimate to struggle. When the game gets tough and more demanding, we expect we'll have to battle harder. We'll have to struggle more to win. We'll probably get hurt and suffer damage. We anticipate we'll carry burdens of injury and pain, both mental and emotional. That's just how life is, we'll affirm as we adapt. We're the fighters that we've all been taught to be. As we battle and compete our way forward, we'll keep trying our best to beat life at its own game. Our common constant goal is to get on top of life and then to stay on top of it, always in control, running our own show. We must be winners here. This is our imperative for life. We can't let life defeat us and take our power away. We mustn't let life get on top of us and get us down. With all its tests, trials, and daily challenges, life mustn't be allowed to make us into losers. These are shared ambitions of every committed contender. We should never let this mighty adversary catch us out. We learn to stay alert and well prepared to face the many types of challenges that life will surely throw our way and try to trip us up with. We won't take challenge lying down. We'll stand up for ourselves and fight for what we value. Despite the many stumbling blocks we encounter on our way, they won't impede our progress. We'll never let them hold us back. We'll stay committed to advancing. We're all here to be winners. So authorities in our early life have given us the belief to believe. It's ironic, as I see it, that hopeful individuals, by the many millions, all hold the one same dream. Each player dreams of being number one, the one and only winner. Every day we work at winning just one day. We can see the odds stacked up against us, but we won't give up the game and we won't give up the dream. To be the best and have the most are goals we've all been taught to strive for and imagine coming true. Only dropouts from the game would dare to take life easy. We are runners in the human race together who must all stay in the running. If we don't stay in the running, we know we'll never win. Running, running, always running. Life can feel like one long run. When their race is run and their life is finally done, no worthy player ever wants to feel defeated, but that they somehow won. They want our world to know that in the tough and mighty game of life, they fought bravely to the finish. They battled through and never felt the stigma of surrender. They died proud of never giving up the game. Many of our familiar sayings, like the ones that I've just been citing, are quite revealing. Do you see? From now on, common phrases like playing the game and dropping the ball will appear in single quotes. I've done this to give them extra recognition, and so as to encourage you to notice their insightfulness and to think further into their deeper meaning. Perhaps they'll start to make fresh sense to you if you hear them for yourself in everyday discussions. End of chapter. Thanks for viewing, listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.